want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you're going between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm on my yoga Russell Simmons, sitting with my legs, Indian style vibe while I'm out here chilling in Biloxi, Mississippi. Let me give a round of applause for myself. What's happening, family? What is so funny? You. Why am I funny? You are hilarious. I have my zen. I'm very earthy right now. So, welcome to the Earthy Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What's up, friends and family? Hopefully, y'all see value in what we continuing to do here on the platform. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm glad that y'all continue to rock with me, but you know how we do. We don't miss under any circumstances, no matter where we are inside of the world, as long as they got Wi-Fi, as long as they have the ability for me to be able to kick it with you, that's exactly what we gonna do. So what's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling? I'm feeling great. Shout out to y'all in the chat. Let me see how y'all feeling, man. Give me one word in the chat as far as how it is that y'all rocking out right now. Time you tapping into your southern aura? Yeah, man, I'm chilling. You know, a lot of people don't understand how awesome it is down here in the South, but it's pretty awesome in the South. All the way down here in the Gulf Coast and Mississippi. I like Mississippi. I even had a conversation about possibly buying a property or purchasing a property here in Mississippi. So shout out to my people over here in Mississippi. Said Anton got linen pants on. Man, listen, I got regular look. I got my earthy Zen pants on, my yoga pants on. I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm out here chilling and having a good time. Getting paid, ready, wonderful, tired, progressing. Shout out to my dog, Chris James. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. True to myself that I'm here, busy, focused, said Clavetta Drew. What's up, Clavetta? What's happening? Azriel in the building. Chair said sensational, slothy, protected. What's up, Shawnee? Blessed. Yes, Southern. Let me see. Quentin Flex Fits. Grinding. The South is awesome. Amazing. Hey, y'all do know that some of y'all are in the South, but you're not really from the South. Like, you're not really in the South. Let me explain it to you. So, what I've found in my travels before we get started with the show, because I got a really, really good show for y'all today, and I'm going to try to keep it condensed within 2 hours. That way I can go out and about and I can go and have fun and enjoy the scenery and everything like that. I am still dialed into corporate America. Yes, I do still have my laptop over there, and so I'm working. We get all bags. We get all bags over here on the Millionaire Morning Show. All right, so we don't miss out on nothing. So I got my corporate laptop over there and I'm kicking. But what I found in my travels is that some parts of the South is not really the South. I'll give you an example. Miami is not really the South. Miami is New York with better weather, better women, and a greater environment with no public transportation. That's all Miami is. It's phenomenal weather. It's super priced. It's a lot of migrants over there, and so it's just like New York. It's New York South. That's all Miami is. Everybody in New York that wind up getting money, and then they get to a certain part in their life, they move down to Miami. Everybody over in New Orleans or Texas, when they get a certain type of money, they move over to Miami because they want the tax breaks, but they still want the same thing from Miami. Shout out to Miami-Dade County Clerk of the Courts. Shout out to my girl Mika in the building. That's all. That's all Miami is. Miami is New York South. It is not the real South. Houston is not the real South. Houston is not the real South. Houston is Atlanta in Texas, but Atlanta is not even a real South either. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no real Southern hospitality in Houston and Atlanta and none of that. It's not the same. So now when you go to like a Nashville, even though that's kind of more central in the United States, Nashville, I will say Alabama, Mississippi, those type of places, those are more Southern. Like, those are the real South. You can go over to Memphis, even though it got a whole bunch of crime. You get some really good barbecue and stuff. But all of the Cuban food over in Miami, all of the transplants over in Houston, that's not the real South. You can forget that. They don't even think conservative, and they don't even have the same values. They don't even go to church like Southern people go to. You know what I'm saying? So all of these people that's in the South technically, but they've made it into the North, and then they've like changed it into being something completely different. Shout out to my girl Q in the building. That is not the real South. If you want to see the real South, come over here to Biloxi, Mississippi. Go over to Arkansas. Go over to Alabama. Go over to Nashville. Go to somewhere like that. Don't go to Atlanta. Don't go to Orlando. Don't go to Miami. Don't go to Houston. Don't go to Dallas. Those are not the real South. That is not the real South. And I stand on that. I stand on that 1,000%. Real talk. If you go to those places, go to New Orleans. New Orleans is the real South. Louisiana is the real South. A lot of these liberal cities over in Texas, you can forget it, bro. That's not the real South. Anyways, neither here nor there. Don't want to cause a big old fuss because I know that y'all be acting a certain type of way. But y'all out here South light. Houston is not the real South. No, it's not. Absolutely, positively not. If you go over to Houston, Houston is Atlanta. And if y'all consider Atlanta the real South, ain't even no real Southern hospitality in Atlanta. Everybody in Atlanta is not even from Atlanta. Everybody in from Atlanta is not even from Atlanta. That's a fact. So let me go ahead and get started with the show. Shout out to everybody with the early super chats. I want to give a shout out to my dog, Mike that dude. Shout out to Mike that dude riding out with me. I also want to give a shout out to my dog, Mike. Yeah. Let me tell you something, Azriel. You said a Detroiter stands on not knowing what the South is. Interesting. You know what's funny is that when I go over to a lot of y'all cities, right? And I travel like crazy. I'm always everywhere. I go to y'all cities and I talk to the people in those cities, and most of the people in those cities don't even know nothing about their city. They don't know how to get downtown. They don't know how to get around town. They don't know where any of the happening spots are. None of that. I'm amazed at the amount of people, since y'all want to go here, I'm amazed at the amount of people that live in these cities that's in the South, and y'all don't even know nothing about any of the cities in the South. Most of y'all have never even left y'all own real cities. If we just really want to go there, most people eat at Wendy's and McDonald's. They don't go to no real southern spaces. They eat at they high-end restaurants as Red Lobster and Ruth Chris. They just be talking. Oh, I'm in the South. Stop it, fam. You in Atlanta light. You in Atlanta light. Oh no, I really do be with the locals. You know why? Because the people in the real Miami and the Opalaka and even the people over in Coral Gables and Little Haiti and all of that, they don't be on Miami Beach. They don't go to the beach. The people in Miami do not be at the beach. Y'all be going there, oh man, I want to be in the design district. Y'all don't really know nothing about the other restaurants. Y'all don't know nothing about Overtown. You don't know nothing about what. It's people down in Miami that moved to Miami that don't know nothing about the real Miami. They just be talking. They don't know nothing about the real Miami. And so they think that just because they're hanging out on South Beach or they find a hot club or they over in Brickell, y'all over there hanging in Brickell and dancing all the time and trying to get into the latest club, that's not even the real Miami. And so when I visit these cities and I'm actually engulfed in it and I go and visit and I see the spaces, see, when I go over here, when I'm in Mississippi, we actually be out in the real neighborhoods. We over and seeing what really people is living like. I was over there flicking it up with a lot of people. I'm not impressed with the fact that a lot of y'all be talking about y'all in the South, but y'all not really in the South. The Brickell ain't Miami. Miami Beach ain't Miami. South Beach is not Miami. Don't nobody go to South Beach that's actually from the city. Y'all don't know nothing about these real cities. So when I see this, and I see people always talking this nonsense, that's like people that go over to Mexico but only stay on a resort or on a resort. Now it's safer for you to only stay on a resort, but you don't know the real Mexico. Like you don't know real cities that's in Mexico. I'm gonna go to LA, but I'm only hanging out. You don't know nothing about the real. Y'all don't know nothing about these cities. Y'all visitors. It's people that live in these spaces that's just visitors in these spaces. I know more about some of y'all spaces than y'all know about y'all spaces. Conversely, you can't come to my city. I can name all local restaurants. Not none of this stuff that come over that y'all be going over into and they really chain restaurants that just so happen to open a location here. I went to one city and they said, hey, have you been to this Chick-fil-A? Yeah, I've been to every Chick-fil-A in every city. Like, y'all don't know no local restaurants. Y'all don't know no real people that's really out here doing it. Y'all not even connected like that. So I'm not impressed when people say that they from somewhere and they not really from somewhere. That don't mean nothing to me. You don't really know the city. You go to work and you go home. You don't know. You don't be in the streets. You don't know nothing about who really out here doing it. Y'all go to the popular spots that's popular on Instagram or TikTok. You find a TikToker that tell you your next local restaurant, and that's where y'all be at. Y'all don't really be out here in the streets like that. Stop it, bro. Bro, you went on a cruise to Jamaica. You was in Jamaica for 6 hours. I've been to Jamaica. No, you haven't. You went to a cruise that made a stop in Jamaica and got gas and you know what I'm saying, and restocked up on all of the food so that they can feed y'all on the water. You ain't been to Jamaica? You don't know nothing about Jamaica. You don't know nothing about Ocho's Rios. You don't know nothing about being in the real mountains. You ever went to Jamaica where you go through the mountains and there's people that's literally taking up residence in the mountains? You ever actually kicked it with the people and the locals? I have. I really have in real life. When we go to Jamaica, we really in Jamaica. We really out there with the locals. And so I'm not really impressed with these people that say that, oh man, I went to here. No, you didn't. You made a stop. You went to the space that they told you to go to, which is good for you. Stay there. But you don't really travel. You don't really know nothing about culture. You ain't really immersed. And so it's difficult for you to speak about the things that's really happening in the streets because you're not really connected with the real people because you scary. You scared to go out in your own city. You scared to go out and hang out in your own city. All of y'all down in the South, you don't know nothing about the South. Y'all in Dallas, you don't know nothing about Dallas. Not the real Dallas. Anyways, so please don't get me started. Because I probably know more about some of y'all city than y'all do. I probably know more about y'all city than y'all do. Don't tell me you went on a cruise ship and then you went to your city. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed, bro. You don't know nothing about that. Anyways, let me go ahead and read some of the super chats and we're going to get started with the show. Shout out to my dog, Chris James. Appreciate you, big dog. Happy Money Monday, AD in the chat. Be mindful of that mute button today. Now that you're not in the studio, I'm on it. I'm not even going to touch the mute button. All right? I'm not going to touch the mute button. Shout out to my dog, Chris James, with the 50 ball. That's my first super chat of the week. Also, my dog, Miami-Dade County Kirk of the Court says, good morning. What up, big dog? What's happening out in these streets? What up? All of my friends showing up. What's happening? I'm actually an hour behind here than I am in Eastern time zone, but I'm cool with it. It ain't that big of a deal. When you coming to Chicago, bro, I'm going to tell you when I'm coming to Chicago right after I do quick hits in my first story. I'm going to tell you when I'm coming to Chicago. I promise you I'm going to tell you when I'm coming to Chicago. Shout out to you. Jay Johnson says, what up, though, coach? Enjoy the day. Shout out to the Patreon gang. H-Town was south enough for me. Being from Cali, I can't tell the difference between one southern place to the next, maybe Texas and Tennessee. Man, listen, they don't know nothing about Tennessee. They don't know nothing about Nashville. They ain't never had no real food in Nashville. Michael Anderson says, been busy getting my channel together. Shout out to the Patreon from Jackson, Mississippi. Biloxi is a hidden gem. Don't y'all be coming to my city? Biloxi is mine. I'm officially the mayor of Biloxi now. Chris J says, good morning, people. Salute to the Chasers. Don't make me fly back to Detroit and slander that great city all over again. Most people in Houston don't know nothing about Houston, and they're not even from Houston. That's just a fact. P. Shank said, good morning, Mr. Daniels and the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to P. Shank. I appreciate you. Stop the Carolinas. DJ K. Smooth says, peace, AD, South and North Carolina, definitely the real South. That includes Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, Columbia, and the other metros here. I've never been to the Carolinas, but I am looking to go because I got my dog, AM, Angry Man is over there. So shout out to DJ Carolina's own DJ K. Smooth in the building. Wealth Building Journey says, we're seeing more bifurcation of haves and have-nots. Time, it doesn't matter where, across the U.S. or globally, it's why we get to the bag. Shout out to the Wealth Building Journey in the building. I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show. Y'all ready to get started? Y'all ready to get it popping? All right, so go ahead. We're going to get right into quick hits, and then we're going to get it popping because I want y'all to understand what's going on out in these streets, all right? Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate one whole segment to each individual, but we definitely want to keep you guys informed on what's going on here out in these streets, man. So first and foremost, the first thing in quick hits that I want to bring to your attention is a Chicago shooting overnight leaves 2 men dead. Check it out.
Hi there, thanks for being with us at 5 o'clock. I'm Chris Ty. Welcome to our viewers on TV and over on our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago. 2 men are dead and a restaurant has been forced to close after a shooting in South Chicago. It happened overnight right outside the New Look restaurant. That's near 83rd and Colfax. CBS 2's Noel Brennan takes us through what we know so far.
It's 1:54 a.m., just before close at the New Look restaurant in South Chicago. Chicago police say 2 42-year-old men are standing outside on the sidewalk when someone starts shooting.
Address is 2546 East 83rd Street.
Hold on, wait. It's 34. 34 is probably more over there, but they got 34 markings of bullet casings. 34.
Right here.
Both men are hit, and one of them dies on the sidewalk.
We got 2 people shot over here.
The other man is taken to the hospital in critical condition as more officers rush to the area.
I need some more cars over 2544 East 83rd Street for the 2 people shot, please.
And then, police find a third victim nearby at 83rd and Colfax. A 37-year-old man shot in the chest also dies at the scene. 3 men shot, 2 of them killed. Saturday afternoon, the windows and front door of the New Look restaurant are boarded up. A notice posted on a wood panel says the business presents a danger to the public. The restaurant is closed by...
Is it the business that presents a danger to the public, or is it the culture and the environment by which the business exists? Just a question. I'm not telling y'all what the answer is. I don't have an answer for Chicago right now because so much is wrong with Chicago. It's not one thing that you can pinpoint to say that you need to do in order to fix the city itself. Is it the business that presents a danger to the public, or is it the culture and the environment that the business exists in? Just a question.
Order of the superintendent of police.
The names of the victims have not been released. Investigators have not said what led to the shooting outside the restaurant. I reached the owner of the building this afternoon, who said he's been in touch with detectives and did not know much more.
So, as usual, your daily dose of Chicago. I have so many stories of Chicago that I don't even want to share them anymore. I'm going to just give y'all one because I know that Chicago is at the forefront of a lot of what's happening inside of the culture. And we're going to get to Chicago in a minute because they made national news also. So we're going to get to that. But I get so many emails of people that sending me stuff related to Chicago that it has almost become sickening at this point. It makes me sick to my stomach how bad that city that is supposed to be great has devolved into complete chaos and corruption. Anyways, on top of that, let's go over to the West Coast. And this kind of hurt my heart, right? Because I've been talking about these street takeovers. And it's so dangerous. And it's so much different than even when we used to be involved with the racing scene and stuff like that, and the street racing scene, because it was dangerous back then. But you didn't have social media now in which people are trying to get famous just from being a part of the scene. But let me show you exactly what I mean by that.
And here we are, another Friday night, another weekend upon us, and the threat of more of those dangerous street takeovers. That is LAPD now launching a desperate investigation targeting one of the takeovers that hit the streets last weekend, a takeover that may have left a couple of the bystanders dead. Watch. Friday night, LAPD bracing for even more street takeovers, but this dramatic one last weekend in South LA is now the center of...
Did y'all see all of those people get hit? For some reason, y'all think that these people are a part of the Fast and Furious. Dominic Toretto is not driving in those crowds. You know who driving in those crowds? Bebe and them, Enrique, Jesus. Ludacris ain't there. Tyrese ain't there. Dominic Toretto ain't there. Han ain't there. Nobody is there driving those vehicles except for Enrique, Bebe and them. They got these souped up trash ass Civics from 1989 and Hellcats and Chargers and Mustangs from 2007. And they driving these cars, and they put every dime that they got into them, and then they out here messing up the streets, messing up the neighbors, and they hitting the people. Listen, look, this is exactly what happens.
Even more street takeovers.
Look,
This dramatic one last weekend in South.
You see that? You see that? I don't know if y'all think that life is a game, but it's not a game. It's not a game.
LA is now the center of a growing and urgent investigation.
Two of the females that are struck appear to be in their early 20s, late teens, and one of them appears to be severely injured.
The detective talking about this crazy, out-of-control scene last Sunday night. Manchester Ave and San Pedro Street. The video shows this red car spinning, doing donuts, then swinging and slamming into two bystanders, sending them both flying right into the crowd. This woman knocked motionless. She's down. She's bleeding from her head. Appears to be badly hurt. As the video shows her friends carrying her away, we don't know who she is or even if she's still alive.
There's a slight chance that this girl might be deceased. We don't know who she is, where she is, or how serious her injuries are. So one of the reasons we're here right now is we want to try to identify this person to make sure that she's okay.
A second woman, another bystander, also hit, also could be severely hurt as she's sent flying through the air, hit by that same red, spinning, out-of-control car.
Who appears to be taking maybe like a selfie or a selfie video while the car's swinging. That girl also gets struck, and through one of the videos we have, she appears to be severely injured as well.
It's a street takeover mystery at this point as LAPD searches to find both of these women to identify them. And they, you bet, want the driver of that red car too. A driver now turned hit-and-run suspect after yet another dangerous street takeover with its chilling video and even a more chilling promise direct from LAPD.
So if you're going to drive reckless and careless and you don't care and you're going to run red lights, you're going to speed, you're going to do all these things, when it comes to us, we're going to get you. We'll get you. We're going to put the biggest case we can on you.
And now live, he's talking about the continuing crackdown by the LAPD task force on street takeovers, street racing. He talked about the biggest penalty, even trying to push not even past vehicular manslaughter, but even in terms of murder. If you're involved in something like this, then
They throwing football numbers on y'all. What you used to think was cool and what you see happening in the movies and how you planned it on social media, they putting football numbers on y'all. Real talk. They not playing no games whatsoever. It's not worth it. Trust me. It's not worth it. Y'all better be very, very careful. For the parents, raise your kids up right. Keep them out of the streets because they're going to find themselves on the news on Fox 11, downtown LA, being made an example of, all right? And then last but not least, I almost started to do a whole segment on this. But to be honest with you, I'm tired of seeing her face. I'm tired of seeing her teeth. I'm tired of seeing her wigs. I'm tired of seeing her saying she's 25 to 0, knowing that that's a lie. I'm not. So until something is actually filed, I even considered previewing this in order to prepare for it to possibly do a show tomorrow. Until something is actually filed, I'm just going to keep this as a part of Quick Hits and keep y'all up to date on what's going on in these streets. Shout out to all of the super chats. I'm definitely going to be reading those super chats shortly. Check it out.
And we are following breaking news out of Dolton, the FBI serving subpoenas. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Dawn Hasbrook.
I'm Scott Schneider. We want to start with breaking news tonight. The FBI, as Dawn just mentioned, serving subpoenas in Dolton.
Let's get right to Elizabeth Matthews at the Village Hall, where 4 agents were this afternoon. Elizabeth.
Scott and Don, it is all quiet now, but here's what Fox 32 has learned. We've learned that those 4 federal agents paid a visit here at the Dolton Village Hall around 2:40 this afternoon. They were serving, like you mentioned, 2 subpoenas. Take a look at some of this amateur video that was sent in to our news station by a Fox 32 viewer. It appears to show a couple of those federal agents inside Village Hall. Here's what we know so far. One subpoena apparently focuses on employment and disciplinary records of 15 Village of Dolton employees, including 3 police officers and Keith Freeman, a senior administrator recently charged with bankruptcy fraud. The other subpoena, number 2, focuses on Freeman and any potential involvement with certain companies and whether or not they received any money, business, or contracts relating to the village. This, of course, comes as Fox 32 has reported on numerous investigations surrounding embattled Mayor Tiffany Hinyard. Again, 2 subpoenas were served here at the Village Village Hall here in Dolton around 2:40 this afternoon. We expect to have much more on this developing story coming up tonight at 9 o'clock.
So, as the story goes, Teflon Tiff is out here in these streets. She believes that it's the media and it's the fact that she's a black woman, and diversity, equity, and inclusion is one of the reasons why they're coming after her. Anton over here at the Millionaire Morning Show, I've covered her extensively. There's other YouTubers that continue to cover her way more than I have. I'm kind of sick and tired of Dolton, and so until something actually happens or a charge is actually filed or something like that, then I'm just going to keep it as quick hits as much as I can, because I'm really, really sick and tired of Dolton, the people of Dolton, and the people that voted the people in power in Dolton. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits, all right? Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to continue on with the shiggity show. Jay Ben says 505 Jeans is still a better rapper than Drake. Cap. Absolutely cap. Shout out to my dog, Jay Penn. My dog, Justin K in the building, says, Big Dog, in your opinion, which is better? Putting down 40 to 50% on your primary home, or would you take that money and put it down on an apartment complex that will pay the mortgage with the passive money? I think that the passive idea of money is the problem that I have a lot of these conversations. It almost reminds me of when people say that they got doors. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're thinking about the interest rates that people are paying. I'm not sure how big the apartment complex is. I don't know how much work that it needs. Me personally, if you asking my personal opinion, right? So I'm not giving it to you just from a business perspective. I'm giving it to you based off of my comfortability. For me personally, I believe in having no mortgage. So if you asking me if you should pay 40 to 50%, put 40 to 50% down on your primary home, that's what I'm going to take, right? But the numbers got to work from the apartment. I do believe in being able to make a strategic investment. So if the numbers work, then it could make sense. I just don't believe in giving away no free money. You know what I'm saying? I could run that up, pay that off, make the payment for the apartment or put the down payment for the apartment, because the apartment is not going anywhere. 2 or 3 years from now, it's probably going to be lower interest rates as a result of it anyway. So for me personally, I believe in paying off my home. So I'm going to put whatever it is. As a matter of fact, let me take it one step further. I believe in, this is how I would play it. I know a lot of people saying, would you put 40 to 50% down on your primary home? No, I would not. I would get a home, me personally, I would get a home that costs what it was that I was going to put down on a primary home. And then what I would do is, as that's paid off, I would sell that home and then 1031 exchange it over into a completely bigger home once I get the capital to be able to take that over too. Or either 1031 exchange it into one that's equal value or greater, or what I would do is I would just continue to upgrade it by getting the newer home and then renting out the one that I'm leaving outside of, because I don't believe in ever selling real estate, right? So that's how I would play it. I believe just living way below your means, even with the amount of money that I make personally, I don't buy homes that are extravagant. I stay right in that cusp of a space where it's easy for me to reach the most buyers possible, because I don't think that I need a really, really big space in order for me to feel satisfied with my space that I live in. My life is more based off of experiences. I don't like spending a whole lot of money in order to maintain a place that I don't really care of. Now, when it comes to my business purchases or the things that is in my business name in order to be able to justify my tax expenses, that's a completely different conversation. But I believe personally in minimizing the amount of money that I spend so that I can own it outright, and then I'll have it forever, and I can leave that over into my daughter when I die. So for me, it's just a little bit different, but that's a phenomenal question. Thank you, my dog, Justin K. So if it's only those two options, then I'm putting the 40 to 50% down. Chris J says, not enough money for me to be a Chicago cop. Talk about it, bro. We gonna get there. My dog, shout out to Kojak. This is what I need everybody in the chat to do. Kojak is one of my long-term supporters and friends of this channel. Every single person needs to go over there and subscribe to Kojak 313 Gaming. He says, Heads up, AntonDaniels.com classic episode of my golf show is scheduled to drop on my gaming channel on July 5th. Make sure y'all go and subscribe to Kojak 313 Gaming on YouTube. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you to my guy Kojak, and shout out to you, and I hope you run it up over there, big dog. BizQ says sideshow takeovers aren't races. People stand in a small circle while the car does donuts in the middle and death wishes. Facts. I agree with that. Races is just as dangerous too. It's probably even more dangerous, to be honest with you. J Ben says those are all stolen cars and auction specials. Them gangs as stock, as chicken broth, they need to sell me that G35 so I can take it to the track. Talk to him. Talk to him, J Ben. Talk to him. Devastator says, as someone that is in the car scene shaking my head. You Can't Stop the Rain is in the building, says it takes one bad choice to ruin your life. Salute to the channel. Shout out to you, big dog. You Can't Stop the Rain also says Teflon Tip Saga movies rights are going to be worth millions. Black Ink in the building says, what's up? What's good, AD? It was good chopping it up with you yesterday. Shout out to my dog, Black Ink. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you to everybody that support the platform. Let's continue on with the show. Let's continue on with the show. Do y'all know what a 1031 exchange is? I actually got a video that describes on the side of the Patreon. If y'all not a part of the Bag Chasers, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order plus 20% off for life and free gifts. So make sure y'all click the link that's in the description for your Tiege Hanley. If you're using any other Tiege pack, get rid of it. Go with the ones that I'm telling you with. It's the best product. Personally, I endorse it. I use it. I love it. It makes me feel good. It's a great product for y'all to continue to use. And again, if y'all not a part of the Bag Chasers, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, my dog, shout out to my dog. I appreciate you. Says, hey, Anton, hope all is well. How can I get an extended coaching call? These taxes are trying to tax. Just text me, Ray Sean, and we'll kick it. We'll talk about it, big dog. Shout out to my dog, Ray Sean. You see what happens when you start making a whole lot of money? Your biggest problems start to be the tax game. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue on with the show. Just text me, Ray Sean, and we'll talk about it. All right, let's get to it. This story saddens me. This story absolutely saddens me. And the reason that it saddens me is because this has almost been a theme for a long time, and also it's something that goes under the radar. I was telling y'all on a previous video, or maybe it was a live stream or something like that, when I flew in here on Friday, right? And actually it was a previous video, it was a reaction video that I did. But I was telling y'all on a video that a guy had ran into me, and it was an older black man that had ran into me at the airport. And we wound up being on the same flight together. That's the part that I left out. But we wound up being on the same flight together. And he was so disappointed in me. He was respectful. He had his wife with him. We was cool. Rita and his wife was laughing because they thought that we was crazy about debating about Trump versus Biden. He was a heavy, staunch Biden supporter. And when I asked him why he supported Biden, he couldn't give me an answer. The only thing that he kept doing is the same thing that everybody else does. And they say why they don't like Trump. And I said, okay, well, why don't you like Trump? And he never answered that question either. And what he said was, well, what has Trump done for black people? So, of course, he picked the right one today. And I started running down the North American Free Trade Agreement, the jobs. I started talking about how Trump had funded more towards the HBCUs than any president in history. And then he stopped me right there and he said, I don't want to hear anymore. And then his wife walked in and he said, him Trump. Like this was a Bernie Mac joke. Him downstairs. Him. Yeah. And so listen, I don't have any disagreement with who you decide to vote for, but you still got to substantiate your argument. This is Sparta. This is Fight Club. We got to stand on why we do what we do. I respect everybody's right to vote, but you got to be educated. And I said, man, who you been listening to? He said, Roland Martin. I love Roland Martin. Oh, it's so funny. But the reason that I say that, and I preface that by going into this whole article, the reason that I say that is because he then proceeded to talk about all of the things that similarly was being spewed out by the Roland Martins and the Umar Johnsons and Black Lives Matters and everybody that makes money from race baiting, right? And none of those conversations ever centered around solutions-based conversations that would then be conducive to our environments, including how we could support the police. As a matter of fact, he advocated for defunding the police. I advocate for people that are a part of the police department that are in these liberal cities to completely find a different job that's in a completely different region, state, in a safer environment, neighborhood where you'll make more money and you won't be absolutely looked at as the enemy by the very people that you're trying to protect. One conversation that we don't see happening on these platforms as often as they should is, for some reason, there's a suppression of visibility when it comes to police officers being injured, maimed, or killed in the environments that they serve and protect. All too often, we see it happening, and there's so many different environments and so many different articles and so many different police officers that are being used in order to try to paint a picture that the police officers are bad, but we don't have conversations about how many of them get widowed. I'll give you an example right now. This is what happened, and this is what hit national news in Chicago over the past weekend.
Returning to our top story tonight, a Chicago police officer is shot and killed overnight.
He was a 6-year veteran of the force who was just going home after his shift. WGN's Courtney Spinelli has details on the shooting and the message from police.
We lost one of our own today.
A somber day for the Chicago Police Department, mourning the loss of their brother in blue. 30-year-old CPD officer Luis Huesca was heading home from work after his tour of duty, still in uniform when his life was taken.
He was just a great officer, a great human being, and his family is dealing with a lot right now.
Huesca served on the department for 6 years. In just 2 days, he would have celebrated his 31st birthday.
6-year member of the department, working very hard out there to keep communities and to keep people safe. And today, that officer was a victim of the type of crime that he was working against.
You know what's so interesting about this also, though? You know what's so interesting about the fact that this 6-year veteran, 31 years old, lost his life, wasn't even on duty, on his way home from work. I don't hear anybody that is on this whole trope of how we supposed to improve the community talking about it. We don't talk about the fact that we are taking out the very ones that's supposed to be protecting our communities. Nobody talks about that at all. At all. It was a female officer that got killed. Oh, we'll get to that part. We'll get to that part shortly. Let me play the rest of the video.
Police say a gunshot detection alert just before 3 Sunday morning brought officers to the 5500 block of South Kedzie Avenue. Officers searched the area and found the off-duty officer had been shot multiple times. He was rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but did not survive.
These are senseless crimes that are taking the lives of our community members. Today, of one of our officers.
When fellow officers found Huesca, his SUV was missing, police say. Hours later, one matching the description provided by sources to WGN towed from an alleyway near 57th and Mozart, less than a mile from the scene. The area crawling with detectives, local and county police, and ATF agents.
And we're going to continue to do every single thing that we can to bring justice to every family who's been victimized by this type of crime.
CPD says the family of this fallen officer included. His body escorted among a sea of blue Sunday morning to the medical examiner's office before he will eventually be brought to his final resting place.
You know, and let me share with y'all something. This is what's happening in Chicago. Y'all asked me a question when this live stream first started, and y'all said, Anton, when you gonna come and visit Chicago? When you make it safer for people that actually do the right thing. When Chicago becomes safe for regular everyday citizens, if the police officers on their way home from work can't survive, why would I ever show up in Chicago? It makes no sense. It's the one city that I really, really, really want to do a meetup in. And I've been doing meetups for over 3 years now. And they only getting bigger and better. It's only one city that I really, really wanted to do a meetup in more than any other city, and I've never, ever had the opportunity to do it because I haven't been back in Chicago since I went and visited JR and them over on the Lapeef network when I was over there. Check it out. This is why.
Officer Huesca's death bringing up memories of a similar shooting less than 1 year ago. Huesca worked in the same police district as 24-year-old officer Ariana Preston.
And like Huesca, Preston was killed after finishing her shift just steps from her home. Keiko Guerin just talked to her mother.
Officer Ariana Preston's mother says losing a child is unspeakable heartbreak, one she does not wish upon any parent. Tonight, her heart is with Officer Luis Huesca's family, enduring an all too familiar pain for Dion Moon. The news of Officer Luis Huesca's death brought Dion Moon back in time.
It was like I was living A6 again.
Dion's daughter, Officer Ariana Preston, was killed not even a year ago.
I instantly thought about that mother. I wasn't there, but I just thought about the sounds I made when I saw my baby.
Her daughter was also a 5th District police officer.
I'm quite sure he wanted to make a change just like my daughter did. I'm quite sure that he wants to make a positive impact on his community.
Her daughter, like Officer Luis Huesca, was also killed while off duty on their way home.
Somebody trying to get back to their family, trying to get back home after serving us. Oh, it's just devastating.
The road to recovery, Dion says, is never ending.
Their family dynamic will never, ever be the same. Everything is different for us.
Dion's thoughts immediately went to Officer Huesca's mother, wishing that his mother never had to understand the crippling pain of what it means to lose a child.
Every mother should feel this. I mean, you raise your child, you pour into your kids, and you have these goals for them to do great things and make you proud as a parent. It's so unfair.
And what it means to lose a loved one who dedicated their life to serving others.
My daughter was a 600 police officer, and I promise my prayer every day was that it's not a 601. Today, God got another angel.
Watch Breaking.
And that's unfortunate because I never seen anybody come out for her either. And so y'all can't say, oh, it's because he wasn't a black man, because nobody came out for the black woman, which y'all say is the least protected, right? Y'all so busy talking about the wrong things and what's happening in the community that I see nobody coming out for anybody. And he was killed on the exact same route, off duty, going home to protect their families, the exact same thing. And it translated into what? What did it translate into? Death. Death. And so nobody is having uncomfortable conversations. The only things that people are saying is what reparations that they need and like money is going to continue to fix the problem. It doesn't.
Tonight, men and women in blue stood shoulder to shoulder inside a church honoring Officer Huesca. CBS 2's Andrew Ramos was at this prayer vigil. He's live for us in Gage Park here at 10. Andrew?
Well, Chris, it was certainly an emotional vigil that was not only attended by dozens of Chicago police officers, but also the mother of the slain officer, who was too distraught to speak, only thanking those who came out to pay tribute to her son. Heartache and grief emanated from the pews of St. Gall Parish and St. Simon Chapel as this community grapples with the loss of one of their own. An evening service Sunday paying tribute to fallen Chicago police officer Luis Huesca. Officers from across the city converged on the Gage Park Church, steps away from the scene of where their brother lost his life hours earlier. Officials say Huesca, a 6-year veteran with the force, was returning home from his shift when he was shot multiple times just before 3 Sunday morning in the 3100 block of West 56th Street. The victim of an apparent carjacking, his vehicle, police say, was taken from the scene. He would later die at the hospital.
Que viva Luis!
With hearts heavy, this congregation reflects, putting their faith in God as they search for answers. The mother of Officer Weska, flanked by relatives and loved ones, led a procession to the scene. Officers paying tribute to their fallen comrade with candles
Santa Maria, Madre de Dios.
and prayers. In what is a cruel twist of fate, about a year ago, Officer Weska appeared in a tribute video for his good friend and colleague, Officer Andres Vasquez Lasso.
That's why I became a cop.
Who was shot and killed responding to a domestic violence call.
En el nombre del Padre.
The irony now a chilling reminder of the challenges police officers make each day on the job.
Whether it was at work or outside of work, he did take the time to help others, and he's one of those guys that actually deserves this star.
What was insurmountable pain a year later persists. Now, investigators spent a good part of their day canvassing the area, searching for any surveillance footage as well as any evidence to really find those who are responsible. As of right now, no one is in custody. We are told this investigation is ongoing. That's the latest from here in Gage Park. Andrew Ramos, CBS 2 News.
How many of y'all actually think that they actually are going to find whoever it is that did this? Most of the time when we review these, and it's not even just the ones that have anything to do with police officers, but across the board, when we review these videos and we see these crimes and stuff like that, most times it's always nobody is in custody, nobody's saying anything, nobody did anything. We don't know where the killers are. They had switches though. We could see where the shell casings are, found the car. We never see, or we can never find the person that actually did the crime anymore. They don't put money into resources. They don't put money into resources and all of the funding into the things that actually makes the neighborhood safe to solve for the problems. We already know where the funding is going. So rest in peace to that young man and all of the fallen officers that came before him. We hope that his family is well taken care of and that they find peace and that the community heals as a result of it. But this is all senseless and it's all stupid. All over a car. Even when people used to carjack and stuff like that, they didn't used to take your life. When a crime was committed, they didn't just, that's a big thing. Like, it's already you risking your life. But to take somebody's life, I don't really think that people understand the impact of that person is never ever coming back. Or maybe we all just has evolved and this has all just become monsters. So shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Anton, give us the real. What is your prediction for 2025? Next few years in the U.S. economy? We going up or we going downhill? I think that there's going to be a bigger divide between the haves and the have-nots. And a lot of it is going to also be interdependent on what y'all do in the upcoming election. The upcoming elections on local levels and on the national level are huge as far as how it affects our economies, what inflation looks like, closing off our borders, immigration and deportation of people that are here illegally. What we have learned over the last few years is that states have more power than we give them credit for. We learned that during this migrant crisis. We also learned it during the pandemic. So each individual state will have its own transition. I will give you my general predictions. And shout out to you, Jamal Parks. I appreciate you for the question. It's a phenomenal question. I think that there's going to be more homelessness. I think that there's also going to be more opportunity for people to get rich. It's always about solving for a problem or adding value into people's lives and filling a void in the marketplace. So if you can figure out how to fill a void in the marketplace, if you can also figure out how to minimize your lifestyle, and I think that smaller cities are going to boom. I think that larger cities are going to go bust. They won't go bust immediately. Like, you're not going to see them go bust within the next 2 or 3 years, but you're going to see states like California, large cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, They're going to continue to dwindle as far as population, which is one of the reasons why I think that they continue to bring the migrants over here from the migrant crisis in order to try to fill those ranks. And if they can get them work visas, then they can become a part of the tax base to fill that void. Because I think that there's a lot of people that are leaving these larger states and these larger cities and these blue cities and moving over in the red states where they have a better tax incentive for you to be there, but they also bringing them their voting patterns with them. So that's one of the reasons why you're going to see a lot of gnashing of the teeth. Automation is going to take over a lot, so you need to really, really get versed in AI and automation. STEM fields are going to be more valued than ever because we're going to have a whole lot of people that's willing to get these jobs that's paying $20 an hour, and you're not really doing nothing as a result of it. So they're going to solve for that problem. And I think that smaller towns, here's the biggest play. This is where y'all really missing it, and this is where the investment is. Go to places that are not as popular on the map. I'm not telling you to come to Biloxi, but I'm going to use Biloxi as an example. It's booming. It's a lot of construction. It's a lot of investment because what people are finding is that they can no longer afford, or they don't want to try to keep up with the Joneses and living in these large metropolitan areas that have high taxes, very bad crime rates, and bad politicians that are managing a city. And so what a lot of people are starting to do is they starting to move over into these smaller towns. And even the locals are starting to complain a lot of times in a lot of these smaller towns that there's a lot of people moving in and driving up the prices. So if you can get into smaller towns that have maybe a slower pace of living but still have a downtown, and they have an opportunity for y'all to continue to invest and still maintain your lifestyle while pouring money into your brokerage account and then making sure that you join the Patreon. So that's kind of how I see it. That's a great question, Jamal. Brittany B says, Anton, not you Fight Club and people at the airport. Fight Club ain't where you are, is who you are. Shout out to Love C. Brittany B in the building, I appreciate you. GR's Infantry Pest Control says, taxes are a mofo. I've learned my lesson. I had to pay thousands to work a deal with the IRS and move from LLC to S Corp. I am still precarious about it. Shout out to GR. I appreciate you. Chris J says, because of the uniform and gear I must wear for security, I don't bother getting dressed until I arrive at work. I change back into regular clothes only when I leave work. This is super sad. It's unfortunate. Can't even wear our monkey suits no more. Dizza says, hey, AD, I have a question. If you were to go broke and start from zero today, what steps would you take to get to $1 million, and how long would it take? I'm not sure how long it will take because it's a lot of factors that go into that. But the first thing that I would do is I would completely get rid of everything. The same thing that I did in 2008. I would lower my costs to zero. The biggest thing that's preventing y'all from being successful, even if you're not broke, is how much you're spending on your lifestyle in order to maintain how it is that you're rocking out. Even when people get raises a lot of times, what they wind up doing is that, or when they grow or when they become more successful or they make more money, what they wind up doing is that they wind up raising a lifestyle to fit whatever it is that they current, whatever their current pay rate is. And so the first thing that I would do is I would eliminate all costs. I mean, down to zero. I would go like as much as you possibly can. Get rid of the cars, get rid of the lifestyle. Don't do nothing. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. The first thing that I'm doing is, look at that Eduardo. So silly. The first thing that I would do is I would eliminate all of my costs, which would then allow for me to basically put every single thing that I make into my investments and into my businesses. It's all about work ethic, and there is no magic wand that's going to allow for you to get successful. I already have the knowledge. The only thing is implementing it. That's all it is. We already got all of the information and the knowledge. Just implementing it. Preventing the amount of money that you got going into your lifestyle to start going into your investments. Few years, tops. I could be a millionaire back within a couple years, 2 to 3 years, without even thinking about it. Easy. I can get to $1 million in a few years. And it's kind of difficult to ask me that question because I already have the visibility, I already have the network, I already have the connections, and I already have the skill set, right? So y'all need to start investing in yourself, invest in your ability. Because see, I can always go and get a regular job, lower my costs, my income, and or use my income in order to continue to go into my investments and just continue to raise money. I would throw every dime that I have back into my investments. So I already got a skill set, I already got a background, I already got the degree, I already have the network, I already have everything. So for me, it wouldn't be nothing to be able to run up $1 million in no time. But for most people, you need to invest in your skill set, invest in the things that will make you more money instead of spending money on things that people don't care about. All right. Shout out to Dizza. That's a phenomenal question. I appreciate that. A-Man01 says, same thing happened in South Carolina last week. Shout out to my dog, A-Man01. I appreciate you. Jake Smooth says, AD, I can agree with you. Mississippi is the right move. Listen, y'all got to stop letting these fear mongers, oh, it's KKK flags everywhere. Man, everybody is having a good time out here. I see more interracial couples, black people, white people, all getting along together. People trying to get money and have a good time. They eating crawfish. They smoking trees at the cannabis festival that was on 420 just the other day. They having white girls with black guys, white men with black women. Everybody with everybody. Everybody trying to get a bag and have a good time. I don't see that. And I be all in the neighborhoods and everywhere. So wherever it is that y'all fear-mongering at, because I seen somebody fear-mongering inside of the chat, I don't see it. I'm sure it exists somewhere, but I don't see it. And I go to all of these towns and all of this stuff. So y'all need to get out of y'all neighborhood and stop listening to the internet, bro. Greyway says, I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, big dog. They're having a good time down here, bro. Nobody talking about that. People trying to get money. It's an Air Force base down here. Man, people ain't tripping about no racism and stuff. That's for y'all that like to follow these people that leverage race in order to try to get y'all emotional and get y'all in y'all feelings. That's not really happening in most of real life. So not where I'm from or not where I go and visit. Let's continue on with the show. So we tapped into Chicago. This is a good one. So shout out to Los Angeles. We're going to just touch on this really quickly. Shout out to Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. So we're going to touch on a couple stories over here in Los Angeles, but I thought that y'all would find this interesting that Karen Bass, who is also one of the people that advocated for the migrant crisis, Sanctuary City, was signing the paperwork. She was right along with Brandon Johnson, Mike Johnston, Eric Adams, Atlanta Mayor, I forgot what the Atlanta Mayor's name is, and Karen Bass. They was all over there doing the same thing, and they all signed the paperwork when it came to the migrant crisis and looking for funding and advocating for becoming a sanctuary city and all of this stuff. We know that Los Angeles is one of the most POS cities in the United States of America. If anybody has ever visited Los Angeles or the surrounding areas, it could not be more pronounced of the haves and the have-nots, unrealistic housing costs. You can't go to a grocery store without paying $5 for an orange. Tent cities, homelessness. Any beach that you walk along or any pier that you go to, it's going to smell like piss. And it's going to be a bunch of people that think that they can still make it in Hollywood, and they can't. And they're going to go broke. And so Karen Bass is, Andre Dickens. Shout out to your car, Andre Dickens. Karen Bass is the mayor of Los Angeles. And I'm not sure the last time that I've ever heard of anybody breaking into a mayor's house. But only in LA. Check it out.
Some disturbing breaking news to tell you about. It tops the Fox 11 weekend news this Sunday. An intruder broke into the official residence of LA Mayor Karen Bass today. That suspect is now in custody. Good evening to you. I'm Susan Hirosuna. Chelsea Edwards is at the Getty House in Windsor Square with the latest developments. And Chelsea, I would bet since we got this tip, you were the first one on the scene, yes?
Yes, indeed. You know, it was an active scene then. It's still an active scene now. We've seen lots of LAPD officers coming in and out, private security as well here at Getty House, as you can see behind us. Now, I have confirmed that the mayor is okay, but you can imagine just terrifying.
How much y'all think that house costs? How much y'all think that house is worth? I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to deep dive into it. But gated, got the nice trees around it and the greenery and private security. How much y'all think that house is worth? And what has Los Angeles become so horrible that people are breaking into the mayor's home while she's there? How much does the mayor of Los Angeles make? Let me look this up. Let me see something. Karen Bass salary. $248,000. Wow. So I'm guessing that that's the residence that, like a mayoral residence that the city actually provides for the mayor of Los Angeles, I'm assuming. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Did y'all know that Tiffany Henyard actually makes more money than Karen Bass in Los Angeles? Tiffany Henyard in Dolton, Illinois, actually makes more money from her two positions over as the supervisor of Thornton and the mayor of Dolton. She makes more money than the $250,000 that Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass makes. But they both need private security, that's for sure.
Terrifying moments for her this morning. That intruder got into her home here in the Hancock Park area. Her reps say she is okay, but I just spoke with a lieutenant who said the suspect appears to have hurt himself while breaking in through a glass door. Take a look at this video. We have Sky Fox overhead. Now the LAPD.
Oh, heck no. Y'all are way off. If y'all saying this is only $1 million or $2 million, y'all crazy. Apparently, y'all not familiar with the prices over there in Los Angeles and California. Ain't no way in the world you're going to sit here and tell me that that's a $2 million or even a $3 million house. Way off. Listen, $1 million home in California is a shack. Ain't no way in the world you're going to sit here and tell me that that's anything less than $4 to $5 million. Minimum $4 to $5 million with crazy property taxes. Look at that. Ain't no way in the world you're going to tell me that's anything less than that over there.
They were called to Getty House here on South Irving Boulevard just before 7 o'clock this morning. Sky Fox overhead again this afternoon as the mayor got out of a black SUV carrying a couple of bags. You can see she was flanked by several members of her team. She walks through the driveway's gates, then across the courtyard area of the property. It looks like someone comforts her briefly before she walks inside the home. Now take a look at this video from here on the ground. Now police have been relatively tight-lipped about this investigation this afternoon. They do say the suspect suffered minor injuries and has been arrested. One of the mayor's representatives came out to tell us that she is okay. He gave us the following statement. Look here. He said, quote, "This morning at about 6:40 a.m., an intruder broke into Getty House through a window. Mayor Bass and her family were not injured and are safe. The mayor is grateful to LAPD for responding and arresting the suspect." Here's my recent conversation with that LAPD lieutenant. Listen here. The suspect was hurt in some way, right?
It appears that as he was making entry into the house, he may have cut himself.
So it doesn't appear that there was an altercation between him and anybody inside the home?
Does not appear that way, no.
Okay. Targeted, random, what do we know about that?
That's still ongoing. We don't know yet, but that is something we're going to look into.
And Mayor Bass home at the time?
Mayor Bass was in residence. She is fine. She's in good. She was not injured.
What about her security detail? Where were they?
I'm not sure where they were at. I don't have that information right now, but that'll probably be forthcoming in the coming days.
Now, you may remember Bass's home in Baldwin Vista was broken into back in September of 2022. She was still a congresswoman at that time. She was campaigning for her current role as mayor. In that case, two suspects made off with two .38 caliber revolvers, but they left behind cash and electronics. Those two suspects were both sentenced to at least 2 years each in prison. That happened just last summer. But
isn't it funny how because this isn't the first time, obviously, as they just indicated, that a residence from the Mayor Bass specifically, which she wasn't mayor at the time, in which they broke into her residence. Los Angeles and California is so soft on crime. I mean, they are soft on. They were soft on crime before New York and before Chicago got softer on crime. Shout out to the Safety Act over there in Chicago. When they do it, when they break into her crib, minimum 2 years just for opening the door. But they can squat on your property. When they break into their house, you getting the book thrown at you. I don't care if you didn't take nothing. You could have only took no cash and none of that. But when it comes to they crib, oh no, we got to make an example out of you, big dog. We got to make look. I know y'all said that that home may only been worth this amount of millions or whatever, so on and so forth. But let me tell you how people are really living over in California, all right? This is how they living in California. Y'all not gonna believe this.
Now at 10:30, living on the edge, a man builds a makeshift home in between the 110 freeway and the Arroyo Seco in Highland Park. That home has electricity, a garden, even a front door, all put together using items that other people have discarded.
So what do neighbors think about the home located not far from their own homes? KTLA's John Finolio joins us live from Highland Park with a closer look. John?
Cher and Sandra, good evening to you. The encampments along the Arroyo Seco, which runs right next to the 110 freeway, have swelled in recent years. And as you're about to see, some people have gotten very creative when it comes to building a suitable shelter. Riverfront property may be hard to come by in Los Angeles, but for some people living on the margins, this is where they call home.
That is a home on the freeway. It has electricity, outlets, everything. It has a door, has a roof. Look, Los Angeles has gotten so bad. And the police, legislators, everybody know about it. Look, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people pass by this every single month. They see this on a regular basis. We've all known about tent cities. Over there in Oakland, and I got a video that's coming up later in the week. Over there in Oakland, Home Depot had to basically wall off their parking lot and their store because it had gotten so bad over there, right? This is on the freeway. This is not hidden. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Los Angeles. For some of you that haven't been to Los Angeles, it's not uncommon to see tents along the freeway or along the overpass or anything like that, or even on the entrances going into the freeway. I regularly had seen that when I was jumping on the freeway from a lot of the entrances, and I was just amazed. And I'm like, man, ain't nobody doing nothing about this. They could just build an encampment on a freeway on an on-ramp. How are they able to do this? Now, because we can't put that genie back in the bottle, they've decided that they want to make entire homes on the freeway. On the freeway. They got a door, tent, electricity, everything. It's crazy.
There are many makeshift structures built with scrap material and trash along the Arroyo Seco next to the 110 freeway near Highland Park. They are among the more than 46,000 people experiencing homelessness in LA. Some of the structures, like this one, stand out. It has a stone wall, walkway.
Look at this, y'all. I can't even get, look, I had an inspection the other day on the house that I'm building, right? And everything was up to code. Thank God. And this is actually a good thing, but it's just funny. Everything was up to code or whatever because the plumber and all of that other stuff. And the inspector came in and says, I don't want to approve it just yet from finishing from the plumbing. And we said, why not? They said, because we want to, I forgot what it was. It was like an even stronger drain that was not even like, you know, the one that we got in there or whatever that was in the washroom, because it's like the same floor, everything on the top floor. It's a washroom and all of that stuff up there. It's like, oh no, this will fit the code, but we want to future-proof the property. We had to call the plumber in and have him come back and future-proof the property in order for us to even continue on with the build process and get approved during the permitting or the inspection from the actual inspector over there at the office where we building that property at. This dude got stones, he got a fence, he got electricity, he got windows, he got doors on the freeway. On the freeway. I couldn't even my driveway permit was like $9,000 for a permit. I got a driveway permit for $9,000. They are basically taking everything that they want and doing. Los Angeles is lawless. California is lawless. Somebody asked me a question in the beginning of this and they said, Anton, what do you think is going to happen in the future? And I said, oh, this is what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. There you go.
Front door, powered lights, even a hammock for relaxing. It appears well kept. The people living here did not want to speak on camera. They don't bother me, this resident tells us, echoing neighbors who say most of the people living along the Arroyo Seco are quiet and keep to themselves.
Some of these structures are pretty illustrious.
They are, and I was just admiring the work that they're doing out here, and I get, violently attacked by these guys.
But clearly not everyone agrees that this waterfront living is okay.
What do you want the city to do?
Clean this mess up. This does not belong here. This is public property, but that's not what it's supposed to be used for. Yeah. This is dangerous. As you can see down there, someone's cooking with an open fire out there. They're stealing electricity. I mean, come on.
You feel bad for those folks?
Yes and no, because, it sucks to say I know some of these people are here, for some reasons that they put themselves here. So, I do wish better for those people, but I cannot be sorry for those mistakes that they made.
Others say just getting by in the City of Angels is becoming too difficult.
It's messed up. I mean, they should lower rent. They should start lowering all kinds of stuff, especially here in LA.
All right, we did reach out to LA City Council member Eunice Hernandez for reaction to these folks living here along the Arroyo Seco, but we have not heard back. We're live in Highland Park. I'm John Fenolio, sending it back to you in Hollywood.
Let me give y'all one more look before we move over into the next part of the show. Just a quick view. Quick view. Waterfront views. They cooking, they barbecue outside, they got electricity that they stealing. They basically operating at zero cost. Zero cost. Shout out to Los Angeles and the mayor Karen Bass. Unreal. Let me continue to read some of the super chats. My job gives me a car and pays for gas and maintenance, but it doesn't pay as much as I like. What moves can I make while having these car benefits? What do you mean? What do you mean? What moves can you make? It depends. Listen, I believe that every man should have two jobs. At the very least, I believe that every man should have a job and a hustle. I believe that every man should have two jobs and every man needs to hustle. And this is not a new thing. My grandfather on my mother's side was a postman and he had a second job. I don't remember him not having two jobs. My father's father, all of them did construction and they had other jobs at the same time. I don't know why y'all can't benefit from it. Listen, I don't care about no car. I can go get me a hoopty and ride out on the car. My determination for whether or not I'm going to ride at a job or ride out at a job has nothing to do with whether or not they pay for my car and my gas. I can go get a hoopty, but if the cost-benefit analysis, meaning that if I go over to a different position that pay me way more money, I get that car up in a heartbeat. The benefits can't wait. The pros has to outweigh the cons in order for me to stay there. So don't be. It reminds me of back, when we used to look at a lot of those jobs at Google and stuff. And then we'd be like, oh my God, they got all of the benefits and you can be on campus and you can get dry cleaning, you get free food and all of this stuff. And I was like, man, you can keep all that. Give me my money, bro. Real talk. So you got to weigh the pros and the cons. If you can't find nothing better that significantly outweighs what the benefits are that comes along with that. But if you foregoing a huge salary in order to get a free car, then I think that you need to get the heck up out of there, bro. Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. Always continue to grow in progress. Waterfront properties with utilities, 1.3 million easy. Kay, what up, Kay? What up? Thanks for the motivation. I'm definitely trying to run the bag up. It's challenging because I'm a single mom of 3. Thankfully, I make 6 figures, which keep me afloat. Your mindset matters. Lower your lifestyle. Kay. It may be a little bit difficult, but you're going to have to recondition those kids to not expect everything and lower your lifestyle, all right? Jay Johnson says, I told you Cali was like that. Y'all can visit, but don't pack your hopes and dreams because here, that is called ways of means. Trust me, the grass is greener where you already are. Knew it my whole life. Shout out to you, big dog. I appreciate you. All right. I see y'all. Where we at? So mayor got broken into. Chicago is messed up. All right, we got 3 more things that we got to get to, so we got to get it moving, y'all, because I want to try to, keep this within as much as within 2 hours as possible. All right. Give y'all a little bit of an update. Y'all know that Google had fired these protesters that had basically broken into the CEO's office in order to protest whether or not they were doing business a certain type of way. So I want to give y'all an update on that. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get it. So this is the protest over at Columbia, right? Y'all know that Columbia congresswomen's daughters were getting arrested over there in Columbia and stuff like that. But I also want to keep y'all up to date on what's going on because they not stopping. No matter how many arrests, they arrested 108 people out there. No matter how many arrests, they still out there protesting. So what Columbia decided to do was that they decided to move all of their classes online. They disrupted the learning of every other student because they can't get these people in order. Check it out.
This morning, as demonstrations continue on university campuses, New York's Columbia University announcing all classes will be held virtually today. University President Manoush Shafiq issuing a statement saying, "We need a reset to de-escalate the rancor." The university also announcing Sunday that it is adding more security on campus, including 111 additional safety personnel. The move comes as a rabbi at Columbia is urging students to return home as soon as possible. Rabbi Eli Buechler, in a letter to Jewish students this weekend, going on to say no one should have to endure this level of hatred, let alone at school. The campus tends amid demonstrations denouncing the Israel-Hamas war. New York Mayor Eric Adams condemning videos such as this, which he says shows a young woman with a sign pointing to Jewish students stating Al-Qassam's next targets. Adams also pointing to one incident last week, a demonstrator chanting, "We are Hamas." Shafiq saying in her...
Yo, listen, y'all. They turning this country into a S-hole. Now, I'm reserving my language because I know that we on a Millionaire Morning Show. I know we got daycares. I know we got people that's working at work. Y'all be having me on the big screen at TV. All right, shout out to the more than 2,300 people watching across multiple different platforms on a live stream. Here I'm live in Biloxi, Mississippi, one of my favorite places to visit. I'm always wondering why a lot of these people don't actually unmask. No, you tough. You want to turn this country into a third world country. You want to come over here and make demands and say what you should have and stuff like that. How come these people don't take their mask off? I want to know who the protesters are. I want to know who the protesters are. I want to know who the people that's deciding that they want to stand for or against any particular issue. I think that you should be made to show who you are so we can pay attention to what's going on. I don't think that you should be able to disrupt people in the public without actually showing your face personally. Unmask.
Statement tensions have been exploited and amplified by individuals who are not affiliated with Columbia, who have come to campus to pursue their own agendas. Jewish students expressing fear.
As a Jew, I no longer feel welcome on campus. I no longer feel safe on campus. And I no longer feel like I belong.
To be honest, no, I think my safety has definitely been compromised in a lot of ways over the past few days.
Last night, in a press release, Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine expressed frustration over, quote, inflammatory individuals who do not represent us, adding that the group rejects any form of hate or bigotry. And the White House saying calls for violence and physical intimidation targeting Jewish students have absolutely no place on any college campus.
Man, we know the White House ain't gonna do nothing. Ain't nobody checking for them. Ain't nobody checking for a White House representative. We know that y'all ain't gonna do nothing but issue statements. That's it. That's all the White House is gonna do.
Or anywhere in the United States of America. In its statement, the university points to, quote, too many examples of intimidating
Shout out to Mrs. Born Bullish.
behavior on campus, calling anti-Semitic language, quote, unacceptable, and says that there will be consequences. Back to you.
Are these people paid? I'm just curious. Do y'all think that these people are paid? Because they saying that a lot of these people that are protesting don't even go to Columbia, but they show up on campus in order to make a big stink and a fuss. And one of the things that you got to do is you got to stamp that junk out immediately. When you start to see a rise or a rebellion or a problem, I've learned that the biggest way for you to go ahead and eliminate a rebellion and you eliminate a Me Too movement is you got to make an example out of people and stamp that junk out immediately. If you don't stamp it out, then it continues to grow. And then you start to see more and more people want to pay attention and get involved in stuff that they don't even know what they're getting involved in. But anyways, that's what's happening over in Colombia. But on the flip side, remember the Google protesters that all got fired, all 28 of them, because they was out of control and it was making an example they wanted to be made an example of? Check it out. They speaking out.
Begin tonight with Palestinian protest at Google offices in the Bay Area and across the country.
Reading that super
The protesters oppose Google's contracts with the Israeli military, and 28 of them have since been fired. 5 of them were arrested in Sunnyvale for the protest. KTV's Crystal Bailey joins us now with new details into the company's decision to terminate those employees. Crystal.
Well, the company is receiving a lot of backlash by pro-Palestinian organizations, and yet another clash between a big corporation and folks who say that they're funding Israel in the war. But legal experts say Google is within its rights to terminate, and protesters knew it was a possibility.
Of the 28 people fired from Google, Iman Hassin.
These are called cupcakes, ladies and gentlemen. And so I support people's right to be able to protest as long as it's within the law. And I also understand that people take it too far when they start to bring it to work. I've always believed in one thing and one thing only. Stand on what you stand on, but you never fumble the bag. Stand on what you stand on, but never fumble the bag. But now we live in an environment where people feel so entitled that they jump off the bridge and they test in the waters. And so what happens is if you let things spiral out of control, in which I said this basically in the last video that we just reviewed, if you don't stamp it out immediately, what you'll start to do is see an uprising from everybody else inside of the organization that decide that they want to take a stance. And so Google did what they had to do. They said, listen, this is a business. We're not playing no games. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I put you on the unemployment line. You can't even file for unemployment benefits because you've been fired, not laid off involuntarily. And so y'all think that y'all smart. We paying y'all all of this money and you going to break into my office? Okay, I got something for you, big dog.
Is one of them. She's a software engineer who flew in from Seattle to Sunnyvale to participate in a sit-in. This is video from one of the Google offices. Google, you can't hide. She says she went outside when she was asked to leave, and she was not one of the 5 people arrested. She knew she was risking her job, but she says she does not regret it.
There was absolutely no way that I could continue working at Google without pushing these demands.
An organizer for the group No Tech for Apartheid. The group says they were protesting Google's $1.2 billion contract called Nimbus, saying the technology is being used to help the Israeli military target and kill civilians in Gaza. But Google says while they do work with the Israeli ministries, the contract work is, quote, not directly at highly sensitive, classified, or military workloads relevant to weapons or intelligence services.
They're continuing to lie not just to their employees, but to the public and all tech workers.
Google called the employees' behavior unacceptable and disruptive, saying it violates multiple company policies. An internal memo from Google leadership reads, they took over office spaces, defaced our property, and physically impeded the work of other Googlers. Attorney David Levine says Google is within its right to fire employees, and the First Amendment does not hold weight at a private company.
In California, as in most places in the United States, you were an at-will employee.
Ooh, you found that out the hard way, didn't you? And California, even in liberal-fornia, you are an at-will employee. See, that's what people don't understand that is a part of unions. When we show up every day and we do what we do on our jobs or whatever it is that we do for a living, every day, either we deliver or we get the heck up out of there. You're an at-will employee. At any moment, you know what at-will means? That means either you deliver or I will will you out the door. That's what it means. At any moment, they can terminate an employee for any reason. There don't even have to be a reason. They can get rid of you because they don't like you. and then make up an excuse as to whether or not your job was on the line because they need to downsize in this particular area. Y'all gonna find out the hard way.
Meaning you can be fired for any reason or no reason unless the reason is illegal.
Organizers say people who were not directly involved in the protest were also fired.
It has just been an absolute shame to be associated to the company's name while the company continues to avoid any accountability.
Hasim says their goal, to double down on their demands with big tech.
And the Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety says all 5 people who were arrested were released, but the investigation has not been submitted to the district attorney's office.
And you possibly ruined your reputation for future work employment. But let's hear what Google's perspective is.
Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai announcing this big company reorganization in a new memo, consolidating teams to help develop AI products more quickly. But he also hinted at a new type of workplace culture for Google. Deirdre Bosa has the details in today's Tech Check. Hey, Dee.
Hey, Carl, good morning. So let me give you a bit of context. Google has really been the poster child of cuddly tech culture, kombucha on tap, masseuses on staff. That's the softer side of it. But also, for many years, it tolerated an openness for employees to bring social, political causes to work, mix ethics and business. Its founding mantra, even a biggest example of this, don't be evil. But we are increasingly seeing a tougher Google and a tougher Sundar Pichai at the top, necessitated perhaps by this increasingly competitive race in AI. Pichai just sent a note to employees outlining how he is going to streamline the business to simplify structure, improve velocity and execution. But the most interesting part of his memo that came at the end of it, he wrote, and I'm quoting him here, "This is a business, not a place to act in a way that disrupts coworkers or makes them feel unsafe, to attempt to use the company as a personal platform or fight over disruptive issues or debate politics." And guys,
he said, listen, I know you think that this is a sounding board and we've been tolerant of your ignorant behavior for long enough. But at the end of the day, it's a business. He said it in the very first statement. When we were coming up, when you had to do a essay or you had to do a paper, right, you had to do it at least 5 paragraphs long. And the first paragraph was an introductory paragraph. Last was the conclusion. And the body was where all of the meat was, right? But even in that first paragraph, you had to state your thesis. And the thesis was basically the description of what was to come after it, right? And then in the conclusion paragraph, you had to go ahead and reiterate whether or not you saw for or why you still feel the way that you feel about that thesis, considering all of the evidence and the information when you cited your sources from the paper that you wrote, right? And so in this statement, this isn't a full paper, but he basically told you what this really was. At the end of the day, this is a business, boy. That's the thesis statement right there. This is a business. Look, take your little issues, take your little foolishness, go out to the park, do it on your day off, decide that you want to take a PTO day, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, don't use the business and the thing that pays you as the platform or the sounding board to decide to say whatever it is that you want to say at the end of the day. We're not going to have you in here making people feel unsafe. You're going to have to allow for people to do their job. You're going to have to shut up, use your own personal platforms, not use the company as a personal platform. And you're not going to be disruptive over what we got going on inside of here because you want to debate your personal politics. Shut it down. And you certainly ain't going to be defacing stuff inside of the company and breaking into the CEO's office. I know the CEO went over and was like, man, listen, you see these people over here? We not playing no game. Vanessa, I'm going to take y'all back to high school. We not playing no games over here at Google. And good for them. Let me give them a round of applause. Shout out to Google. Finally standing up and not letting these people bully y'all in the sand when doing whatever it is that y'all want to do. Larry Summers says, I was one of the Tesla layoffs. Hired in 2021. Everyone was running around freaking out. Not me, though. I put away 60 to 70. Man, let me give a round of applause for you, big dog. I knew you was a chaser. Launched a hedge fund and now enjoy a hefty severance. Hashtag to the chasers. If y'all not a part of the Patreon, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. BizQ says, I have a Black Lives Matter co-founder friend. Yes, they get paid and bus and fly people in to make a big scene. Ooh-wee. Yeah, let me know what's happening. What up, Khalil says those college protesters are welcome to fly to Israel and speak their piece. Shaking my head, but they ain't about that life. No, they gonna do it from the safety of here, where they know that they can't be manhandled the way that they want to. Didn't I super chat that last week? I don't know, Devastator. Did you? JC Inc. says Anton on the side of small hats. Okay. I'm on the side of righteousness, big dog. I'm on the side of what's right and what's wrong. I don't sit here and separate myself based off of race or what kind of hat that you got and how big it is on your head. I don't care nothing about that. I'm an equal accountability smoke giver. Y'all gonna learn to stop coming over here to divide yourselves based off of identity politics. I don't care about that. I'm on the side of righteousness. Either you're right or you're wrong, and I'm open to the possibility that I'm wrong, but I'm not gonna divide myself against somebody based off of something that they can't control. Remember that. If y'all don't like that, y'all know where I stand on it. Jay Johnson says they can always work at Holly Molly Donut Shop. I'm with that. I like donuts. Kings and Priest says she flew in to drop a 300K bag. A fool. She probably make more than that when you look at her equity. Rod Jones says Google took off their belt. Absolutely. Shout out to my dog, Rod Jones. I'm going to continue to read these super chats throughout the show. Let's get to the money, y'all. People sent me this, and they've been sending me this all day long. And so I want to get into it. Dr. Phil Primetime. I didn't even know Dr. Phil had a primetime. However, apparently it's this video that everybody is checking out. And it's a woman that's saying that she's working, or a family that's saying that they're working 4 jobs. I haven't seen the video yet. That's saying that they're working 4 jobs and still broke. Have y'all seen this? I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as put to the top of the chat.
Auto insurance up 33%, used cars up 35%, hotels up 15%, groceries.
The American dream is the American nightmare.
Why is everything so expensive?
Mortgage rates doubled. They're working 4 jobs and they're making $1,000 more than these people who aren't working at all. What the hell?
If we ran our household like the government did, we'd be in jail.
See, this is where I stop from people running in the Victim Olympics. What is I did everything I'm supposed to? How do you do everything that you're supposed to, but you $100,000 in student loan debt? Who told you to do that? Who told you to take out $100,000 in student loan debt? Look, man, look. I'm trying to be sympathetic and I'm trying to be open-minded, but the first red flag, and when I see something, I got to call it out for what it is. You can't run in the Victim Olympics. I'll give you a quick story and then we're going to jump back into the video. When I tapped back in with Rita or whatever, right, when we first connected again after high school, which I ultimately made her my wife and we married each other. The first thing that I had a conversation about, and I don't even think I've ever told y'all this before, but the first thing we had a conversation about was I needed to understand what her situation was. This is on God, on everything. On everything. On my father's life or on his grave. On everything. I pulled up her financial situation and I understood exactly what was going on. And I said, whoa. I said, because baby, if you don't got a scholarship, I know you're going to Wayne State and all, and I know what you're trying to do, but let's put a pause to this. I'm in control now. The first thing that I noticed is that she had $10,000 in student loans. Now, this was back in 2000, 2001 or something like that. I think it was in 2001, something like that, 2001, 2002, and she had like $10,000 in student loans. And I seen the pathway that was going to, and I said, hold on. I said, if you're going to be rocking with me, putting an end to that. No, we're not mortgaging our future. No, we're not doing none of that. And that's one of the ways in which I knew she was going to be my wife, amongst other things, is because she was submissive to it. And she was like, listen, I'm with it. Whatever it is that we got to do, I'm with it. We stopped that train immediately. Right after we got married, the first thing that we did was we paid off that student loan. Right after we got married, the first thing that we did is we paid off that student loan. Nope, not having it. And so I don't know what they talking about. I'm not really sure what we having a conversation about. I did everything I'm supposed to do. I'm more than $100,000 in student loans. Are you a surgeon? Jesus. Cause your kids can't go to private school, big dog. Hold on, let me give a boom. You can't send your kids to private school. No. Listen. I know we complaining about inflation and it's a real thing, all right? But it's lifestyle. See, y'all living way above y'all means and y'all think that y'all any different than anybody else, but you not. You poor. You poor. Middle class is a label to make you feel good about how hard you're working so that you can keep working for the rest of your life and trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's it. That's all it means to be middle class, is the middle are the ones that get ran over. That's what it means to be middle class. And y'all keep thinking that y'all doing well because y'all got status and you got titles, but you got debt and you broke. And I don't care how much money you make per year. If you got that type of debt, you broke. If you in a negative, you broke. Anybody that got a positive net worth, that's a different conversation. Still lower your lifestyle, but you broke, fam. All the way. You know, it's funny because I'm sitting here, right, and I'm in my hotel room and I'm doing this and I got my laptop over there and I'm still making money on my corporate job and stuff. And I'm looking out on the Gulf, right? And I'm paying attention and I'm looking at the water and I'm looking at the lighthouse and all of that. And so I'm chilling, right? Do you know why I'm on this trip? Have anybody ever asked you why? Y'all think I'm on vacation? That's one way to look at it. This trip is free. I ain't paid for this hotel room. I didn't pay for my flight. I didn't pay for anything. I don't pay for the food. Rita went and got a 100-minute massage yesterday. She didn't pay for that. The only thing we've been paying is tip money. That's it. I'm here because I'm being paid to be here. That's it. I'm here on the 24th floor, overlooking the water, chilling, having a good time, because I'm being paid to. If I'm moving frugally and I won't even go in a lot of places unless I get paid to do so. And y'all out here spending money in order to impress people that don't even care nothing about you. How does that make sense? They told us that I was middle class. What, you don't know how to think for yourself? That's one of the biggest problems with the U.S. education system, is that the problem with the U.S. education system is that they taught y'all how to add numbers, but they didn't teach you how to think for yourself, how to be logical. How to be logical. Crazy. He fresher than me. I got on a $5 t-shirt, some yoga pants. See these pants? See these yoga pants? I'm about to go do yoga after I get done. I'm tapping into my earthly. He got on probably more expensive glasses. Fresh to death. Got on that chocolate face makeup. And this is the common misconception. A lot of times broke people be looking like that. And people that have resources look like me. I told y'all all of that free money wasn't free, that was going to come. Remember that? Remember when I was telling y'all that in 2020, 2021? I said, man, listen, I know that y'all think y'all winning right now, but them semi-checks is going to come back to bite y'all. Inflation is about to go crazy. This is what you need to do in order to beat the rate of inflation. And y'all said, Anton, you don't know what you're talking about. Guess who laughing now? The bag chasers. Everybody that's a part of my Patreon right now, we laughing all the way to the bank. We got Stock Club coming up this week, and once I get back to the city, when I get back to the studio, we're going to do Stock Club. We're going to keep leveraging our investments. We're going to run it up. We're going to make sure that we lower our lifestyle. We're going to keep on plowing money into real estate and into the stock market and making sure that we make the right plays and that we 8 things that we look to invest in. I told y'all this. I said, listen, y'all think y'all winning now, but you gonna suffer. You mortgaging your future in order to satisfy these video games that y'all about to play because y'all think that y'all all gonna be getting this STEMI money. 4 years later, look at where we at. 4 years later, we right back where I told y'all we was gonna be at. And I said y'all gonna be complaining, y'all gonna be whining, but me and the bag chasers, we gonna just run it up. We're going to run it up. And y'all pain is going to be our gain. Your pain is going to be our gain. And you laughed. And you told me, oh, man, Anton, you don't know what you're talking about. You out of touch. We going to get this money. Yay. PPP loans. Always wins in the end. Always going to bring yourself back to the congregation in the front of the congregation in the end.
About
so the government.
Thing out of myself. I have a daughter, and I want to live life.
Oh, you a step baby daddy. You a step crash dummy. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Oh, so hold on, big dog. Let's put this in perspective. Now, you know that Anton feel a certain type of way about being a step baby daddy. All right? You met a chick. I keep telling y'all, I could do a whole half hour on this, but I'm not. I could do a whole half hour, but I got a whole nother section to go through. You telling me you met a chick on Section 8. Where that other kid father at? So you met a chick on Section 8 with kids. You saved her and you had 100. You didn't even know how to fix yourself. You fell in love. You had hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans. And now you trying to crash out and you can't even save yourself. I kept wondering in this whole segment. I said, bro, why does she keep saying my kid, my kid, my kid, my kid? Because she been saying it the whole time. I said, why she keep saying my kid? That's why. That's why. I don't want to turn the Millionaire Morning Show into the Anton Daniels channel. Not today, Jesus. Not today, Jesus. Not today. Let's see if we can get anything more out of this before we go to the next section.
Only to struggle a lot more in a marriage on 2 incomes.
And she throwing him under the bus. Yo, listen, on national TV, she said, listen, I was doing better on Section 8, only to get in a marriage and do worse. Yo, I don't even know if she know that she making this dude look like a sucker. Dog, I'm going to do a whole breakdown of this on for my other channel. I got to do a whole breakdown on this. Dog, do you hear what she just said? She said she was on Section 8. And the government was her daddy. The only other thing that she could say to make this even worse was, and my other baby daddy is getting to it too. Oh, man. Dog, y'all on national TV and she said she married you and she doing worse. She said she married you and you doing worse. I didn't know what I was getting. Yo, when y'all sent me this, y'all didn't send me no context. Y'all emailed me this and y'all said, yo, Anton, check this out, check this out. They working 4 jobs. This might be for the Millionaire Morning Show. No, this is for all platforms. This is for all platforms. Listen to what she said. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. Get this off my screen. I'm saving this for my... Y'all ain't tell me that I could have did a whole nother segment. Get this off my screen. I'm saving this for my other channel. Jesus. You was on Section 8. You had roaches on your wall. Woo. Kings and Priests says network architect CCIE level 365K We in this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the bag chasers. Jay Ben says from 505 to Quentin Pants, soft guy air. Oh yeah. I had a whole let me tell you something. I had a whole segment dedicated to the soft guy era. You don't believe me? Watch this. Let me show you. Hold on, I'm about to show you. Where's it at? I had a whole segment today dedicated to the soft guy era. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. Hold on. Is it under quick hits? Oh, here it is. Hold on, I got it. Why are women rejecting the soft guy era? I'm going to save that for tomorrow. Tomorrow's monologue. Make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as to the top of the chat. Jamal Perks says, I despise this. Take care of your family. No excuses. Facts. Brock says, pass a love offering. When is that Let's Rant About It content dropping? I think that's going to be dropping this week, to be honest with you. Tech Coach Ralph says, is she missing a tooth too? I think so, but we not going to tooth shame. We just going to money shame right now. What up, Khalil says, dude on Dr. Phil's show with Galvatron voice. This is bad comedy. Yo, this is horrible. AR Smitty says, for this step dummy on Dr. Phil Sorrows. Jesus Christ. Y'all trying to take care of another man's kids and you can't even take care of yourself? JPO7 says, how is this guy going to say I did everything right when he a step crash dummy with a girl on Section 8 chick? Oh, man. I'm going to go ham. I got a whole segment that I'm about to do. I'm going to do that video right after, later on today. Bell is, oh, man, let me give a round of applause for my girl. What up, Bell? Wait a minute. He picked up a whole family before paying off his student loan debt? He stepped in to be someone's step-simp? Oh, yes, he did. Shout out to the chaser. My Canadian baby girl, Belle. What up, Belle? What's up, baby? I appreciate you. Quentin says, I don't wear jeggings. I don't believe that. Good show. Bravo. But we not done. We got one more section that we got to tackle, y'all, before we get up out of here. I know that we running over time. We're a little over 2 hours, but we got to get to all of the thick of things before we get up out of here, all right? Last but not least, this woman, is that what she's saying? Is that what it is? Working 3 jobs and making $65,000 in Houston. Is she surviving? Up over the weekend. But I wanted to make sure I got to this. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications. This is for Q. This is for all of my ladies in Houston. This is for Azriel. This is for everybody down there in H-Town, all right? I have not seen this. My first time checking it out. We're going to try to knock it out in 10 minutes. Let's rock.
So the American dream is that you get the education that you need, and then you go and get a stable job, you buy the house, you buy the car, you get the 2.5 kids. But the reality is that in some situations, especially those who graduated during the Great Recession, is that we had a delayed start to that, and we had to figure out how to make adjustments in order to get there. My version of the American dream is just to be debt-free and live life on my own terms. My name is Shanita Leslie. I'm 40 years old. I live in Houston, Texas, and I make $65,000 a year.
Hey, y'all, listen, we one step away. We one step away from a lot of changes. Listen, I know that they keep telling me that all of these women is getting it. They running it up. They buying homes. You're not going to lie to me. You can't finesse me. Listen, I think that that's good. Congratulations, making 65, doing it legally, not selling no box on the side. We one step away. We won. This is a beautiful situation. I used to think that inflation and Bidenomics and the migrant crisis was a bad thing. I did. I used to complain about it, and I used to say, man, listen, bro, look at what's happening out in our economy, and this is happening, this is playing out, and so on and so forth. But I don't really think it's that bad anymore. Because we really close to a completely different reset. And I'm not talking about the Great Recession. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about a reset in women's attitudes and men's attitudes towards each other. Because when you suffer enough, God know how to humble you. God is trying to tell you something. It's only so much box you can sell. And that goes down in value over a period of time. It's only so many lies that you can tell. It's only so many ways that you can tell people, hey, happy wife, happy life. We're headed towards a great reset. Y'all not only gonna start to get yourselves back humble and fall back into the way of aligning yourself with the person that you should have picked in the first place, but I almost think that women is ready to take the 2-for-1 deal. We right there. This is why they don't want to give me my $30 million. This is why they don't want to give me my $30 million. Because if I get on the national TV, I'm going to say, hey, fam, women are doing 3 jobs. They out here killing themselves. They talking about a 4B movement, and they one step away from doing a 2-for-1 deal. What is a 2-for-1 deal? I'm not talking about chlamydia and herpes at the same time. We know that that's running rampant in Houston. We already did a segment on that. That's a completely different show. I'm talking about women are willing to be the side chick with the main chick and be a throuple at this point. Now, I'm not an advocate for that, all right? But that's what I start to see. I'm starting to see stuff pop up on my algorithm and women say, it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get that money for the rent. And they say, listen, I'll take what I can get at this point. I know I wanted 1, but I'll be a half. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, we are almost there. We're one step away from the great reset. Women gonna be like, ooh, that's a good man. That's a good man right there. Ain't that what she said on Waiting to Exhale or Whitney Houston's mama? And she was trying to convince her to talk to the Allstate man. She was like, Savannah? That's a good man right there. See, them old school women, they knew how to shut up. Savannah? That's a good man right there. He said that he's going to come and get you, girl. And y'all was listening to Savannah, and Savannah said, Mama, I don't care nothing about that. I'm not going to have no man telling me what to do. Next thing you know, he doing Allstate commercials. You married Bobby Brown. Now look where that got you. You know what I'm saying? Savannah, he's a good man. That's why they don't want to give me my $30 million, because I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. Now, I'm not advocating for this. But I'm telling you that the Great Reset is coming. It's coming.
I'm 40 years old. I live in
now
Houston,
you making
Texas.
65. He making 45. Y'all can do 110 together. 110. Lower the low. Go 50-50, 65-35, whatever it is that y'all want to do. No, you said that you can do good by yourself. Deliver my door. I want my DoorDash immediately. Immediately. Not yesterday. Not 5 minutes late. Your tip is going to be interdependent on whether or not you can get this DoorDash to me ASAP.
And I make $65,000 a year working 3 jobs. I like having multiple streams of income. Those are things that I don't feel like I have to do, and more so now that I want to do, now that I'm in a place that is financially comfortable for me.
What does she do?
And more so now.
She a program manager, and she a DoorDash driver, and she a writer. I wouldn't even did this segment. I don't even know what they had to pay you a bag to get on here, baby.
That I want.
Is that the going rate nowadays? Is that the number? Is this the number? 100,000? Y'all said, listen, I'm not stopping school, and I'm not going to take any less than $100,000 in student loans. I want a house for school. I want house money for school. This is the going rate. From now on, what we going to do is everybody, the people on the previous segment, this woman that's 40 years old, Everybody take out $100,000 in student loan debt. Everybody get your roll on. Everybody get your roll on. All right? Everybody get your roll on. Everybody get your roll on. I like 100,000 student loans. I'm like, wow, whoa. This is the new number. 100,000, 100 bandos, 100 bands. Everybody get your roll on. Jesus Christ. What is up with y'all? Y'all didn't see that number and was like, that's crazy. How long is it going to take me to pay that back? Jesus Christ. Listen, I am a millionaire. I don't like that number. I don't like. You know how y'all say, when y'all see these posts on social media nowadays, you say, as a woman, or they say, as a straight man, I'm going to use my pronouns and as a millionaire, that sounds crazy to me. You know what I could do with $100,000? You know what $100,000 means to me? That means another property, leveraging this money and making sure that I buy something that's undervalued that we talked about in Stock Club, investing in Republic Services, maybe getting ASML, some more shares of that from the semiconductors. Because 100,000, y'all just be out here partying and having a good time, getting all of this money, what the hell is going on out here in these streets, bro?
I knew that DoorDash wasn't going to make me rich by any means, but I really enjoyed the idea of working on my own time instead of having someone dictate to me when I needed to start working, when I needed to stop working. I have a 4.9
I have financial freedom. I can work when I want to.
Customer service rating, 100% completion rate, and
Jesus
I have
Christ.
over 8,000 deliveries completed. I remember one time I was doing delivery to a restaurant for a customer, and when I walked in, I overheard what looked like a grandmother was talking to her grandchild, and she made a statement under her breath, and she said, make sure you get a good education so that you don't end up like that. That really took me back.
I warned y'all. No, you wanted to go to subscribe to all of these other trash channels. No, you didn't want to subscribe to the Millionaire Morning Show, but ain't that came back around? Came back around to bite you, didn't you? Y'all said it's a race war. I told y'all it wasn't a race war. I said it's a class war. Because the same way that white people used to look back at y'all and tell their kids, hey, make sure that you don't talk to a black man, is now the way that the class wars is. And they say, hey, make sure you get a good education so you don't end up like that lady by herself with no ring on her hand, grinding. Yeah. Grinding. It's a race war. It's a class war. It's all of it. Whatever victim Olympics that you want to run into, that's how I go nowadays.
Back a little bit because I was actually doing DoorDash to pay off my student loans.
No, you wasn't.
To pay off the education that everybody told me I needed to get.
No.
At the height of the pandemic, that's when I was really doing the most amount of hours with DoorDash. I was doing.
Hey, listen. There's no point in saying this because all I'm gonna do is keep on class shaming, and then they go say, Anton, you're overprivileged. Yeah, maybe so, but it's fun. It's funny either way. Because y'all not a part of the bag chasers. And so what can I tell you? How can I help you if you won't even help yourself? Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. We got Stock Club coming up this week, and we going to get it popping. So while I'm over here with my $5 t-shirt on and my I don't even know how much I paid for this one. But it's crazy. Let me class shame y'all real quick. For all of those that's not in the bag chasers, that's not in the Patreon, let me class shame you. I want to make sure that I don't know what time it is. Ooh, you know what they call that? They call that the root beer. They get from the rooter to the tutor. Yeah, this is a rose gold root beer right here. Whew. Anton, I don't like you. I don't like the fact that you stunting on us. I can't help myself. I made right decisions in my life. And that's why I'm the one that's here to give you the information so that you can make a right decision in your life too before it's too late and somebody is looking at you inside of the restaurant and saying, son, daughter, make sure you don't be like that person. You don't want to be that person, all right? Let me let me read a couple more a couple more super chats. I got to get y'all out of here. We got Q show tonight. Make sure y'all tapping in. Well, Bill New Jersey said the 4B movement. Don't forget the fourth. Don't forget the fifth B. Broke. Yep, in 5 minutes, a ninja that can change a light bulb will do. Facts. They taking them all. They taking a body. Chris James. Shout out to my dog, Chris James. Biden trying to take away that side hustle money, that 1099 as well, according to the DOL, and get them taxes. But they are still going to vote for homeboy and make bad decisions. And then Ken J says, granddaughter said, Grandma, you got 100K? Listen, man, it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get that money for the rent. It's hard out here for a pimp. Dialect 1 says, please, if you're reading this and thinking about going to college, really sit down and make sure you're going into the right field with amazing job prospects. I beg you, the wrong major will get you jammed up. That's a fact, though. That's a fact. Shout out to y'all. Let me make a real quick announcement before we get up out of here. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move the show up about an hour and 45 minutes simply because I got to check out of this hotel and I got to catch a flight so that I can get back to Detroit and we can go and kick it. So tomorrow, I'm thinking that the show is probably going to start at around 9:45, 10 a.m. That's the only way I'm going to be able to do it live. Otherwise, I would have to do it pre-recorded. But we definitely going to be doing the show tomorrow. We just going to move it up a couple hours. So you're going to truly have a morning show tomorrow instead of a millionaire afternoon show in reality. So make sure y'all tune into that. Make sure y'all tune into the Q show tonight. It's absolutely awesome. And we're going to continue to do the work. So early live stream tomorrow. Make sure y'all tap in and we're going to get it. K. James says, Anton, what are your thoughts on women who had to divorce due to their spouse's cheating and other erratic behaviors? What is the erratic behaviors? Some women are not choosing to be single and raising kids alone. Go back to your baby daddy. You let your emotions get in the way. It's about what's best for the kids and what's best for you. All right. Would you rather let your ego control you to put yourself in poverty? Or would you rather solve for the issue and the problem appropriately? A lot of y'all don't really understand how to communicate effectively and how to solve for a problem. Most of the time, it's something small or it's something minor that can prevent these things from happening in the first place, as far as even the cheating itself. Some people don't communicate. Some people are not open. Some people change. Some people have evolved. Some people are so abrasive that it's difficult for you to be able to be communicated with. Now, that does not excuse the cheating. But what I'm saying is, you picking a struggle. You got to pick a struggle. Real talk. Seriously. I do not think that cheating alone, I think that can be solved for, but I don't think that cheating alone is enough for you to be able to break up the family. That's just me. That's just me personally. I don't think that cheating alone is enough for you to put yourself in a difficult situation, have to grind, and then breaking up the family. That can be solved for. Now, if he bringing you a disease or something like that, that's a completely different conversation, because that means that he putting your life on the line and he being irresponsible. And that does not, and it also does not justify the cheating. So I'm not telling you that he should be cheating, but I am telling you that that can be solved for, and we got to make sure that we think things all the way through versus making an emotional decision. Because I'm saying people that's telling you to go out there and leave him, it's not going to be the ones to pay your bills. They're going to have you out here doing DoorDash. That's my opinion of it. That's my opinion of it. It's worse things to have to deal with out here than somebody that stepped out. Real talk. Optimus Prime, did he bring you a disease? No, none of those things. We need to have a deeper conversation so we can assess this and then make some adjustments. Flat out. I know people that didn't got cheated on. They found out, and oh yeah, so that's a little bit different. It was really bad, Anton. Drug usage, stealing, and gambling. Okay, so you got a little bit of a different situation as far as what your erratic behaviors are. All right, but let me say this on that too. Did these behaviors only start after you had got into a relationship and had children and got married? Aha. Because a lot of times we choose these people already knowing who they are. So listen, send me an email. We'll talk about this a little bit more extensively. Or call into tomorrow's show. On maybe I'll make it a unique Tuesday show on the After Hours channel when we can talk about cheating. Yeah, that'll be a good one. Send me an email and we'll talk about it. Shout out to K James. Yeah, that's a little bit different. That is extreme. Yeah, listen, gambling. I've seen people gamble and lose their whole house. So it depends on the context. We gotta mine that out. That's a little bit different. All right. Yeah, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tune into the Q show tonight. We're gonna get it popping. And we're gonna make it happen. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Don't be broke. Join the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love y'all. I'm out. Early show tomorrow. Q show tonight. Peace.